Hey guys, so I actually just woke up and I only slept for 3 hours, of course, and I had a shit ton of dreams, and I thought this week I might try something different and just record it now that I woke up and just recall them and share them that way. So I wrote down a few notes. I laid here for a second and wrote down a few notes of like images as they came back to me, and I'll use those to help me uh, relay my dreams. So basically, in my dream, the first thing I remember is I traveled to a different world. I was dropped off in a different world. And I was in a kitchen, a foreign kitchen. I don't know whose kitchen it was, but the door was missing, and outside the door was like a rainforest, and I wanted to go exploring. So, and my sister was with me, and I left her in the kitchen with the dogs. She had her two huskies with her, and I put a board up so that the dogs wouldn't get through because there was no door. So I put like a board up, and then I went out into this world, and it was there's lots of trees, and there was sun shining through the trees, and it dipped down in this little hill, and I came up another hill, and I was standing atop, looking down into like it was like a valley or something covered in trees, and I saw this guy, and he was like in like a cave or something, and he was leaning against the wall, and I waved to him to get his attention, and he kind of looked nervous and scared. He didn't wave back, and then I realized he was hiding from something. And he was trying to communicate with his eyes that I needed to hide too, and it was too late because what he was hiding from saw me. It was a bunch of tribe members with like had darts, those dart blowers, and they saw me. So I started running, and I dove back into the kitchen, and I was laying on the ground, and I told my sister to get down too, to duck because they were shooting darts at us. And when my sister laid down, she had darts in her neck already. She had got shot. And then when I stood back up, after I don't know how long I laid there, but after I stood back up, I was no longer there in the kitchen. It was a dormitory, except it was like a skyrise. We were at the top, and my sister's friends were in the room, and she no longer had darts in her neck. And I looked out the window, and there was a ginormous tornado. It was ginormous, like huge, and it was coming towards us. And I was like, "You guys, there's a tornado. We gotta get to the basement or whatever." And they didn't believe me. And I was like, "Look, it's out there." And so uh, they they looked out the window, and it disappeared, and so they thought I was crazy. And then I looked out the window again, and it was closer, but it was smaller. It was I don't know. It had like it had shrunk in size, and it was getting closer and closer and closer, and it was like only a few feet away from the window, and it was gonna collide with the building. I was like, "Shit, you guys, we gotta go." And so I took out down the stairs, and so they started following me, and they still thought I was crazy. And finally, when we got to the bottom of the stairs, there was other people lining up, and nobody knew what to do, and everybody was confused. And I was like, "There's got to be a basement to this building." And so we went outside, and there was like one of those old basements, like on farmhouses. It's one at my mom's. It's like you know what I'm talking about. The basements you have to go into throughout the outside, and they're real scary and gross and dirty and dank and putrid smelling. And so we went to the basement, And finally, another student was like, the entire east wall of Denison University is completely gone. And so then my sister was like, oh shit, there actually is a tornado. And Denison's where she went to school. And so then they still made fun of me that I was being paranoid and stuff, but whatever. um, so then I was worried because we couldn't get the doors shut and locked. And so I was trying to hold it shut and couldn't get the latch on it, and I thought the tornado was going to rip it up and we were going to blow away. But when I opened the door for some reason, and guess what? There's zombies. More zombies, because I apparently have some zombie, I don't know, obsession. My subconscious has a zombie obsession, not me personally. And so then we got these zombies to worry about. So I can't get the door shut. So this girl volunteers to go outside and lay on top of the door to keep it shut while I try to lock it. But the zombies come and take her. And then I finally get the door locked, and but there's like a crack in between the space, so the zombie sticks his head in, and he's trying to bite my arm, and I can't remember if he bites my arm or not. I think he does. I can't remember, but anyway, somehow I end up in a hallway, and there's zombies chasing me, and I jump up onto a ladder that's extended from the ceiling, and and my feet are dangling, and they're snatching at my feet, and finally they get me and pull me down. And they're not normal zombies. They have a society, and they take me to their zombie meeting, because I'm a hostage, and along with some other people, and we're sitting, I don't know, it's like in a cave or something, I don't know, but me and some other people were sitting at these tall tables, like sitting on bar stools, and so we're listening to this meeting, and the zombies, I don't know what they're discussing, something about what they're going to do about their food supply. I think they're concerned about their food supply running out, humans. And so I wanted to offer input, and I was like, hey, I have an idea. And so the zombie leader's like, okay, let's hear it. But there's a zombie beside me who like doesn't want to hear me talk, and he's like looking at me like he's going to eat me, and he's gnashing his teeth at me and snarling, and I was just like, dude, whatever, I have a good idea. So I was like, hey, what if, so I explained something about the mind and tricking it, and how we can use like fake bodies to trick their minds into thinking that it's real food. And so I say, let's test it out. And they're like, okay. And so I rip up pieces of paper and I put them in envelopes, and then I start walking, and I throw the envelope, and I yell out a body part, like arm or leg or toes or fingers, and I'm throwing these envelopes which have little pieces of paper in them, which are supposed to represent toes and fingers and arms. And it works, because as soon as I throw the envelope and yell the body part, the zombies are like a big herd, stampeding herd, and descend upon the envelope and rip it open and eat the pieces of paper. So that was that. And then the next thing I remember is I'm on like the campus green, still at this school, and I'm walking with one of my friends from college, and we come upon a depression in the ground, and there's like a hole at the center, and we take a flashlight and we stick our heads down in the hole and look around, and it's like it's really big, and it's actually storage for the philosophy department, because there's boxes that say philosophy on it. But there's like, it's underground, so there's like roots and dirt and all kinds of, organic stuff hanging off the walls. And I don't know why I dream of philosophy professors and philosophy stuff all the time. Maybe it's because my sister is getting her PhD in philosophy. I don't know, but well, probably. Anyway, so there's a box that says sketchbooks, and my friend has a sketchbook in that box, and she wants to get it back, but apparently it's the property of the philosophy department. And then this man is walking around us, and he's very attractive, and he's older, and he's a philosophy professor, and I've never seen him before. He's tall and kind of lanky, but he's good looking, and he has light ash brown hair, and I can't remember if he had glasses or not. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember, but so he sees us and he's like, well, go ahead and take the sketchbook and I won't tell anyone. And so my friend gets her sketchbook and she's all happy, whatever. So then we're talking, then there's some other students there, and we're arguing about the flags of the United States and of Ohio and what the history of them, and and then I finally say, well, there's three different flags, and I can't remember what I said. I mentioned the Ohio flag, and then the flag with the American flag with 50 stars, and then I say that there's one that's inverted, which has opposite colors, where the blue is red and the red is blue. I have no idea what that means, but that was in there. And then my mom is walking around, and she says that she used to have the philosophy professor when she was in school, and she tells me to offer him cereal. And okay, it's really weird because the guy is actually in his 30s, so that doesn't really make sense. So anyway, I give the guy some cereal, and then mom goes away, and the professor is watching me, and he's actually kind of creepy, and starting to get creepy vibes from him. And then sorry, holding this and my hand's getting tired. So anyway, yeah, so he's watching me, and then he starts to come on to me, and then after everyone leaves, he starts kissing me, and then he pushes me down, and though he's quite handsome and I feel into him, I don't want, I don't want to, and I'm hesitant, but he holds me down and wraps my legs around his hips, and pushes my hand above my head and tightens his grips on my wrists, and his eyes look hungry, like they're shining brightly, like some internal animalistic flame igniting and scorching his brain of all rational thought, leaving only the innate impulse of inhibited desire. And it makes me nervous, the look in his eyes, and then he rips open my shirt and slides his hands up my legs, and I have on like hose and a garter belt, and he wants to rip those off. So I'm like, and actually then I'm like, okay, whatever. And he gets excited and digs his fingers into the hose and rips through them. And then when I tell him to stop, and then because I tell him I have to go to the bathroom, and then he gets pissed, and then I go away, and then when I come back, he apologizes and hugs me, and I'm just like, no, you don't care about me, whatever. And he's like, no, that's not true. And so I'm just like, whatever. And I leave, and then I leave, and I'm in a building, and I'm going down the stairs. It's like there's like an atrium, uh, and I'm walking around it, and it goes down. And when I get to this one level, there are these witches, and they're like exorcising some demon out of a girl or something, because she's sitting there and she has this glazed over look on her face. And as they're performing their spells, a white snake comes out of her mouth, and it flies in the air, this white snake, and they're sending it to that philosophy professor to kill him, because I guess he hurt that girl. So after that, they tell the girl to go away, and they they send her over the ledge of the staircase, and she's screaming and falling down, but then they stop when she gets to the bottom, so she doesn't hit the floor, and she's okay. And then the last part of the dream that I remember is I go outside with these witches, and they have some vampire friends with them, and the sun is out, and the vampire friends are like, help, you know, because the sun's out, and the witches pick the girls up with their powers and hurl them across the lawn into the basement that we were in earlier, hiding from the tornado and the zombies. And that's how the dream ends. And now, as I finish saying that, I'm starting to remember other stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and keep rambling on. Maybe more will come to me later, but that was only in the span of 3 hours. And it just took me like 15 minutes to explain that, so I don't know. Crazy, but that's it.